You were gonna wait too. Let's go good.
Hey.
Welcome to 4th&20 Sports, everybody. It is that time of day, your favorite time of day, with your favorite people. It's your boy, AJ Johnson, and over to my right, the one, the only, Mr. Max Todd. What's up, Max? How goes it, sir?
Oh, living the dream every day.
How does this keep happening? I swear I feel like we were on camera more last week than we normally are, and I still feel like it's been so long since we've done, like, anything sports, like, talk or 4th&20, like, talking related. It's been less than a week, really.
Yeah.
At least, at the very least, a week.
Well, no, and it's definitely, so I wish we could do it every day. I'm jealous of the guys with the 5-day a week.
High-paying jobs.
Yeah.
With the suits and the...
I could easily be better at Trey Wingo's job than Trey Wingo. I believe that.
Okay. What is your issue with Trey Wingo? I just got to know.
No. Trey Wingo is just, he just like slid in like a snake. He just got everything he ever wanted so easily. He rose through the ranks so quickly, and it's garbage. Him and Will Cain just snakes at ESPN. They're awful people. I don't like them.
You don't watch the Will Cain show?
I refuse to watch that. That was the Russillo show.
The Ryan and Russillo show.
Hey,
the Canelo and Russillo and the Ryan and Cain, wasn't it? For a little bit?
No.
I'm pretty sure it was.
No, it was Russillo and Cain. Russillo is on...
no, Russillo is Ryan. Ryan Russillo.
Oh, right.
That's why I said, Canelo and Russillo.
All right, Danny Canal.
Now they're just one big amoeba of a person at ESPN. So, I mean, when you get the chance, you don't just, like, line up and watch the Cain show? 3 to 6, ESPN.
No. I will not. I refuse.
What's your problem with Will Cain?
He's so biased. He's like, I'm a lawyer, so I'm better than everybody. No, you're not. Stupid Will Cain with your Cowboys opinions about everything.
Alright, but okay, do you never so my thing with Will Cain, like when they were replacing Skip Bayless and they were looking for people, and Will Cain, that's the first time I was introduced to Will Cain. Couldn't stand it. And then he was on there another day. And then he was on there the next day. And I was like, oh my goodness, are they going to replace Skip Bayless with Will Cain? I feel like I will never watch this show again.
But they basically have, he's on it so much.
Yeah, he's like the third party person. But like now, as I've listened to him over like a year and plus some time, even though he annoys me, does he not sometimes make okay points?
No.
Are you being fair, or is that just based off your hatred of
this
man?
Based off of hatred.
Okay. At least you admit you're being Bryce Petty, for those of you who don't know that reference by now. All right, well... what's the other dude you hate? It's Bill Polian.
I don't hate Bill Polian is just too old for this job. Bill Polian barely can form a sentence, it seems, anymore, and all we're asking him about is telling us how people would have made picks back in a football that doesn't exist anymore. It just doesn't make sense why I have to care about a guy that was like, yeah, didn't I do a great job liking Peyton Manning?
Statistically speaking, you did a good job.
Yeah, statistically, but that's like saying John Elway's a great general manager just because he picked up Peyton Manning. That's the only time they were good.
They were on the way with Palmer. 4th&20 Sports, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for joining us right here at WBLZ Sports. We are just getting started. We got a pretty good one for you today. Big news in the upcoming draft. Already a trade been made, and I'm sure there's more on the way. We're going to get into that, see who that affects. We got the NBA playoffs are coming up. About 12 games left, I think, in the NBA season. Portland got their first loss last night to the number 1 seed. We might talk a little bit about that. You know we got a bruh coming, and this week our bruh is everybody else's bruh. You're going to have to wait to find out exactly what that is, but we're going to get it started here on WBLZ Sports. Maxwell, you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
You got this?
Oh, yeah.
All right, because I'm going to come at you first. So last week, the news was made that the Jets have traded up to the number 3 spot with the Colts, which surprised me because I thought the Bills were really in the running for that, moving up, unless the Giants are going to trade down or something of that nature. But anyways, the Jets traded with the Colts. The Colts have given up the 3rd spot in the draft. They will now take the Jets' 6th spot. They also get the Jets' 2nd round pick this year, I think it was the 37th and the 49th pick, and they get a 2019 second-round pick. Jets moved to the third spot. Is this because they need and want and will be taking their quarterback in this draft, and they found their guy?
Yeah, because the only reason that they would do that isn't because they don't think that Saquon's going to be there. They don't really care that Nicholas Chubb is. They're there to get their next quarterback. They have everything going right now. They have a guy who needs to prove himself, a journeyman veteran, and will have a rookie quarterback to start this season. But they better know which guy it is, because if they're in the same camp that a lot of scouts are, that there really isn't that big of a difference between any of these quarterbacks, well then, if you just gave away 3 picks for that, you're in a lot of trouble.
Well, I mean, my main concern is I don't think whoever is behind center will have enough weapons to deal with. Anyways, I feel like we all know the Jets are in a complete rebuild mode. The Jets know they're in a rebuild mode. But, I mean, let's see. Robbie Anderson's a question mark right now. You lost Austin Seferian-Jenkins. Matt Forte retired. I mean, what do you have? I don't recall if in free agency they hit on a running back or not, but
I think they've got a running back. I don't remember who it is. But this is either a move that really does throw a wrench in our Saquon idea, though.
That was my
We
next
thought
question.
Saquon might be the number 1 overall pick to the Browns, especially with the Tyrod trade, especially with getting Jarvis Landry. But then signed Carlos Hyde, which we also said isn't really a big deal. It just means it's a running back tandem. And, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, Dalvin Cook got drafted to the Vikings, obviously not number 1 overall.
Right.
Which some people might...
Real. So we're talking about the Browns. Why are they... I'm sorry, that's how I feel. Go on. Do what you do. Do what you do, Playboy.
Oh, God.
So this really threw a wrench in our plans of Saquon going to the Browns.
Yeah,
I mean,
it really did, because even though it was controversial for the running back to go number 1 overall, we've seen them only creep up recently, and in a way that we've been strengthening the interior lines of all of the offensive lines. It leaves a lot of great gaps for power runners, like a Saquon Barkley. I mean, he runs like Bo Jackson. He just there's so much power behind every step. And who knows really where his career is going to project, but I think he's an unmissable talent. I mean, but if all of a sudden they feel the pressure that the quarterback the Jets are going to take at number 3 is going to be the one they were going to take it for, they may have to use the quarterback pick on number 1.
Which is ridiculous, because this is the funny part, because we said through and through, I was very adamant about this. The only way they don't take a QB at number 1, or that they do is that they need to, is if somebody trades up that is probably looking for a QB, and it's no secret that that's exactly what the Jets are looking for. They missed out on the Kirk Cousins lottery. They had to draft 2 guys to a 1-year deal, hoping it's a bridge for 1 year. I also don't know which QB they're looking at that they think is only going to be a 1-year project. You're not looking at a guy that
Josh Rosen is the most developed thrower, but he's got a lot of bad deep throw accuracies. And to go to the Jets, I mean, it's not easy. And Mark Sanchez went to the Jets, and that tore that poor kid apart.
I mean, after he had some small-time success with it. It wasn't like from day one it was a flop.
Yeah.
You run into your lineman's butt, and it's all over from that point on anyways. In the morning. Probably in the morning. So, does this mean it's going to be Sam Darnold number 1?
I mean, I think Josh Allen has the most upside. I think Sam Darnold is a project that doesn't develop well. He reminds me a lot of Matt Leinart. He had plenty of talent in college, but I don't think it translates well because I don't think he's got what it takes to help it translate. I think that if Josh Rosen has less of a Jay Cutler attitude, he'll be perfect.
Dude, doesn't he kind of look like Jay Cutler?
A little bit.
When I look at him, they zoom in the camera on his face, and it's I'm gonna take so much money from franchises.
But if there's a player that has at least the right mentality and good pocket presence and the gun to go along with it, is Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen is like the best quarterback out of this class.
I agree.
I think that really Baker Mayfield, I think, could have a lot of upside. I just don't really see him leading a team in the first 3 years of him being in the league. I need to see him stay healthy, and I need to see him be able to play in the pocket as well as escape in it.
Well, see, my thought process on Baker Mayfield, though, is like he's actually, a lot of people have spoken of the thought process of him being an actual natural leader. And it's not because of, the way he stays, it's his intangibles, it's the way he acts. He kind of leads a lot like a Jameis Winston. Mm-hmm. He's leading by doing. When you see a kid being that fired up and that passionate about it and able to spread that around the locker room, that's a guy that people are going to go to bat for. I mean, take like a Gerald McCoy in that Buccaneers locker room. He's never put up with nothing from anybody. Jameis came in and he was like, that kid I can follow.
All right.
So, and if Baker somehow ends up in a Broncos uniform for whatever reason, I mean, Case Keenum with a 2-year deal. So, I mean, you're looking at.
Now, Tampa to come up and convince the Browns to take the 7th overall pick to let the Bucs take Barkley at 1. You'd have to really assume that the Bucs want to take Barkley number 1, and what they would have to give up is way more valuable, and I don't really think they have the assets for it. And to make that kind of move after the money they just put on Mike Evans, that might be a risky move. I also think it would have to be one hell of a package to convince the Browns that they should give up that pick. I mean, they're kind of caught in a hard place right now.
I mean, if anything, you could find a way to give up the 4th, but that would just ensure that they're going to take their QB at 1. Which, to be honest, and everyone's spoken to this, if you think you have your guy, if this is the one you want above everything else, they're gonna go get him. It doesn't matter what us in the outer sphere think about it.
Well, and this is also a different thing than we're used to. Like last year, we were able to watch the quarterback picks almost get their value changed up. It was because did we really want to take a risk on Deshaun Watson? Did we really want to think that Mitchell Trubisky could evolve into this? Now you can get caught in the trap like the Bears did, or you could get caught in the mind game like the Browns did by letting Deshaun Watson not get picked up. Who knows if they get that Deshaun instead of Kaiser, where their season actually ends up.
Gosh, could you imagine Deshaun coming back? And then, I mean, now you know exactly what you do at 1. If you picked up Deshaun last year, there's no question you take Barkley.
Well, if you pick up Deshaun last year, you may not be 1. You think he wins more than 0 games?
Who did he have? He would have counted. You're right. He would have accounted for some wins. I still think they would have ended up in the number 1 pick. I think they already had the number 1 pick.
I mean, I don't know. Deshaun, Njoku, Duke Johnson.
That defense let a lot go too, though.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's promising too. I mean, you're probably right. They probably still end up in 2 or 3. And then, I mean, the Giants are taking the QB at 1, but then again, they could have. So, all right. We could spend what ifs in the world of forever and ever and ever, but I just this now has me super confused. I thought I had it pegged exactly what they were going to do 1 and 4, and then here come the Jets doing very Jets things and screwing up the whole system.
Well, and here's the thing: if the Jets nail this quarterback thing, then those picks are so worth it. Swapping their pick to go earlier and then giving up 3 second-round picks, or 2 second-round and a third, and one of them's next year. And if you find your franchise quarterback, well, that's money. That's money in the bit. Give up. You could give away 2 more 7th-round picks because it's just cheap currency at some point. Really, because your player is only as good as what they produce on the field. Any draft grade for what they do before Danny Shelton got the Browns an A draft grade. He just got traded for being garbage. Maybe the Patriots know what to do with him, but he certainly wasn't doing anything for the Browns.
Just amazing what the Patriots can do to players, though.
Yeah.
They picked up guys off practice squad.
But the point is, the draft grade there is no longer an A.
Yeah.
Drafting RG3 was not an A as soon as Kirk Cousins ended up being your QB.
Well, I mean, when the facts change.
Yeah. I mean, Blake Bortles was rated an F- by someone on draft day.
On draft day?
Yeah, by Chris Sims, I believe.
See, I feel like that would happen more now.
Well, no, he was a hater. He was a hater, but now you probably have a slightly better rating.
Yeah, much better. Who knows? The Jacksonville Jaguars say he has a better rating because they signed him again for 3 years, and I'm actually intrigued to see if he gets it back, man. Like that one season where he was just bombing it down the field, and what was 32
Well,
touchdowns.
No, the Allen guys are gone.
Yeah, both Allens are gone, so you're going forward with D.D. Westbrook and Keelan Cole, Corey Graham as a heel. I mean, I'll probably bring him with the slot. So yeah, I mean, at this point, you are looking to solidify your offense. I mean, your defense is pretty straight. You can get a late flyer on a linebacker that you can develop to take over Paul Zosny in a couple years now that he's retired. But for the most part, as long as you're injury-free on defense, I mean, you're solid to set up your offense now. You can get Blake Bortles a couple of some other weapons. Yeah, all right.
And yes, Chris Sims was an F- quarterback. Going to the Gerald McCoy, I don't think that's a guy you want to let out of Tampa Bay. I know that it's coming to a point where the window feels like it's closed, and that on him, and if you can get any value for him, that would be great. But I still think that he's with that linebacking core, with the turnaround ability of Jameis Winston. I mean, they were one of the better teams in the league. They did do some work on their offensive line. I think if they actually are still there for Quentin Nelson, that's a huge piece to help people from running up the middle on Jameis Winston. Give him some time in the backfield, check down. There are yes, there's only one Saquon Barkley, but there's still Chubb, Michelle, Juice from Darius Geis. There are still running backs. That is one position you can get gold from later on in the draft. Same with wide receivers. We've seen undrafted ones go. But I just think that if you're willing to trade up that much for a running back, the real issue, you better have every other issue on your team solved. And that's something that the Bucs don't have, and I don't think it's worth getting rid of someone who can stop the run, be a pass rush influence, and be a vocal leader that knows that team on the defensive side. I think that would be an impossible trade for the Bucs to want to make.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to see where the Bucs are now because they seem to get it together on defense at the end of every season. And then they added Chris Baker to that line next to Gerald McCoy, and of course, a couple injuries later, you're looking at exactly what you had last year. But I definitely thought they would make a bigger impact up front, so they could definitely know that they can spend their draft time and their free agency time this season on tightening up that secondary. I mean, you re-signed Brent Grimes for a year or two, and I mean he's still okay. He's nowhere near out of the picture of being a solid cornerback, but I mean Hargraves is still developing into what he should really be. He's nice, don't get me wrong, but he's not the top end corner that they wanted right out of the draft. So I mean Gerald McCoy also brings a culture that you don't want to release either. I mean him and Jameis on both sides of the ball as leaders. I mean, you have a good place you have a good direction that you're headed. You just got to solidify some things. I mean, that offense right now, Sans a running game should light things up. I mean, we were all high on them last season. We thought they were going to have a great season, and we all know how that ended up. So that's just.
I mean, but yeah, and that could have been a fluke. It could have been who knows. I mean, that defense was on the rise. They still have one of the best young linebacking cores in the game. I mean, having Levante David and Kawan Alexander is a huge thing. I mean, even though Kawan got popped for that's the 4-game suspension once, I think he's still probably top 5 linebackers at coverage for sure.
I got a good tandem. There's a third one that's they have a third linebacker that's actually pretty nice as well, whose name I cannot remember.
I believe they just signed Vinny Curry onto that defense, too.
They did just sign Vinny Curry, and since him and the Eagles couldn't get anything situated.
And if I'm the Browns, I agree with you about that. That's how I would play it, about the Barkley and the Chubb, number 1 and 4. The only reason why it doesn't really work out was the whole reason for them really passing on a quarterback early on last year's draft was because of the class coming into this one. So I think they will have to take a quarterback.
One of those. Yeah. One of those for sure. I had it at 4. That's what I would appreciate the entire time. 4, but we are past that. I'm excited because so pretty sure for those who don't know, coming up, the draft is about a month and a week away. Pretty soon here, we're going to be getting into our draft analysis and talking about some of the prospects. There'll be a lot more football and a little basketball. The brackets go out of the window in about 2 weeks, and
if they haven't already gone out of your window.
Jesus. But yeah, so we do a pretty decent draft special. Last year we were pretty happy with our picks. I think like in the top 10, and before that trade happened, I went like 7 for 10. And I can take that. I can take that. OJ Howard screwed me up. I don't know how he dropped. I think he's going to have a big year too. Like, this offense of the Buccaneers doesn't make sense. How do they not ball out this season?
Honestly, in war in the trenches, you could have the best wide receivers out there, but if you can't get the ball to them because your quarterback's being hit every play.
Yeah, oh, I know all about that, and so does Jameis. He lived it 2 years here, 3 years here. I still watch it. Ugh. Every time like we have like the garnet tops on and people get through, like Clemson, watching Clemson play us, it was like literally parting the Red Sea and just letting Clemson through the sack QBs. It's made me cry. Sorry, I had a little flashback, a nightmare from post-traumatic stress. Anyways, 4th and 20 sports. We talked a little football. We get into this before we go on a break. We'll do a little short talk on this. The NBA playoffs are about here. It's time for everyone now out there to start actually paying attention to basketball if you haven't been. People like you, you upset me. Basketball is a wonderful sport. You should watch it as much as you can. But the playoffs are here. I have not gone back and looked at my NBA preview because I'm sad about it. I feel like, well, from what I remember, I actually don't think I'm that far off. I did not have the Cavs in the 3rd seed, and they may not be in the 3rd seed when this is all said and done.
Definitely didn't have the Raptors at 1.
I did not have the Raptors at 1. I think I had the Raptors at 2. And I'm pretty sure I had the Cavs at 1, the Raptors at 2, the Celtics at 3, and the Wizards at 4. And, basketball is unpredictable. You got 82 games, a lot can happen. Some people rest coaches, rest their coach like, the Cavs are doing. But anyways, last night we had the Trailblazers, were hottest team in NBA since the All-Star break, 13-0. And then they ran into the number 1 seed, the Houston Rockets. Didn't go over very well. On the other spectrum, you have the Golden State Warriors, who have all 4 of their All-Stars injured. Their only starter right now is Zaza Pachulia. My question to you is, the Warriors, which of these teams between the Rockets and the Trailblazers are going to be a tougher out for the Warriors, assuming that they get back up?
I think when it comes down to it, if the Warriors come back healthy, they have the length on defense to make the Rockets have to become one person. And if the Warriors offensively are better than the Rockets defense for the most part, and they will go toe to toe. I think the one thing with the Trailblazers is they're better defensively. And sure, there was some things that were exposed last night in that game, but watching some of the tape, they played really good defense. But when you're on, you're on, and that's been a Mike D'Antoni a live or die. If my guys are hitting shots,
you're not going to beat
them.
They matched last year. They matched the Rockets for 3-point attempts.
And where I don't think that either of these teams, and I don't want to say that I don't want to come off that I think like Chris Paul's afraid of any moment, but I believe that Damian Lillard is fearless.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going the other way with that. Oh, that would have been a fun debate. He is. Dame time.
And I believe that 100%. I do question
CJ McCollum.
Well, no, I question James Harden in the playoffs. I question Chris Paul in the playoffs. Never been to the final.
I think CP3 is going to be fine. He just hasn't had the opportunity to get there. But he's also never had a superstar like James Harden. You can say Blake Griffin was great.
No.
You can say DeAndre Jordan was great.
Well,
and the way it was guard to big men play was wonderful. But he's never been paired up with
who did he ever have in
nothing much. I mean, I honestly can't even remember people he played with in New Orleans. I mean, what do you get to like the first round of the playoffs like twice?
Because he left right before Anthony Davis.
Yeah. Gosh, that would have been fun.
Yeah, right.
Could you imagine him, Boogie, and Anthony Davis? That would be interesting to watch. But going back to the Rockets, I don't think CP3 is going to have an issue now. I was one of the people who favored this matchup or this tandem of a backcourt. James Harden has showed you nothing in the playoffs but disappointment. I honestly believe he's past that. I don't think you're going to see a James Harden choke this season. I can't think of a game this season where he has choked. I mean, you're talking about a guy who is now consistently putting up 35 to 40 points. Talking about a man who put up a 60-point triple-double You're talking about who should, and finally, like if you remember last year, no, James Harden is not the MVP. I said it over and over and over again. I was correct. This year, James Harden is clearly the MVP. And he's lucky it's not a postseason award, because if he does go into this playoffs and choke and when the moment's brightest, when the light is on him as bright as it'll ever shine, I mean, can you even call James Harden a superstar anymore?
Yeah, I mean, yes, you can. I mean, Dame
I call him a
never
star.
got it, but I would say
Never got a
that
Super Bowl.
yeah, but with James Harden, I mean, yeah, he's definitely been the MVP this season. I think LeBron's still really the MVP, but
no.
I don't know. I think he's the most.
It annoys me that every single year. That's not fair. But at the same time, like, I'm just one of those people. Like, to me, LeBron James should be almost past MVP consideration, unless he does something ridiculous. I mean, he's bringing in the same statue every single year. Like you go back, his numbers don't jump. He's done this before when he's won MVPs over and over again. Show me, Bama. What makes you an MVP this season doing exactly what you did last season when you have someone like James Harden surpassing what they did? You had someone like Russell Westbrook just changing the game. You had someone like Steph Curry literally change the game of basketball. I get that he can be in the running, but he shouldn't be top 3. Unless he is doing something spectacular, something we haven't seen before. Yes, it's his 15th season, but remember, people back then didn't have the medicine that we have today. Modern medicine is amazing, and the way that man takes care of his body, plus this, I mean, 33 is not too old to be playing basketball when you're a freak of nature at 6'9", and I mean freak of nature in a great way, of course. I apologize. It bugs me. It does. I need more if I'm going to put you in the MVP level when you have already been an MVP. You got to do more. You got to do more. I think it was Wilson who said the Spurs are going to take care of the Blazers. Unless Kawhi gets back, which I don't think he's going to come back this season, and honestly, if he comes back just for the playoffs, I honestly think they will mesh less at that point. I think if that happens, you will hear something come out after the season that there was a lot of animosity in the locker room because of the way Kawhi left him hanging the season and then decided to come play for the championship or whatever. Maybe not. But the Blazers, I think the Blazers will have too much to handle the Spurs. LaMarcus Aldridge won't be able to do it all alone. And, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to get swept. No way. The Spurs and the great Greg Popovich are good for one game, maybe even 2. But if they are playing the Blazers, I don't think that they're going to take care of them. I think you see the Spurs go in the first round of the season, depending on their matchup. I mean, because you got to think Boogie Cousins in New Orleans. I'm sorry, Anthony Davis in New Orleans is doing enough almost by himself to keep them. They were at a 4 seed last week. You know, if it wasn't so tight knit between the 4 and the 10,
you could even watch them not make the playoffs. Yeah. They keep messing around.
Yeah, I mean, well, you can only mess around and put up a triple double so often, Anthony Davis, and not get any help. I mean, we've seen it before.
I meant the Spurs.
4th&20 Sports, we're going to take a quick little break here and get some messages from our sponsors right here in WBLZ Sports, where we've got balls. Don't go anywhere.
Because we're not going anywhere.
Because we're not going anywhere. You see how that works? We're here for you.
The commercial break will happen on our SoundCloud and on our iTunes, and tomorrow night on WBLZ.
At 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Where we've got balls.
Got them.
True story. Yeah, we're looking to get back on camera with you guys. We had a lot of fun last Tuesday. We just got on camera for those who missed out. And just talk to you guys. You guys have questions like you do now. We sat back, we answered them, laughed, joked. We're looking to do that again, so check out the Facebook, the like, and the subscribe, and we'll let you know when we get a chance to do that. Really was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that bracket really was good.
Yeah, okay. Speaking of brackets, let's get on back to the show. 4th&20 Sports, we are back. Thank you guys for sticking it out with us while we gave you some wonderful messages from our sponsors on WBLZ Sports. You are here with Max and AJ. We've been talking NFL, we've been talking NBA, but now it is time for our Bruh of the Week. And ladies and gentlemen, you guys are a part of Bruh as well, because everybody in the Americas are feeling the same thing. Max, let me ask you, Bruh, what's your tournament bracket look like, Bruh?
Oh, it looks bad. It looks as bad as a white guy suing the Hawks for being racist to white people. It's right now. I can't even explain. There have been a lot of things that could be bro-worthy this week, but it just was too much for us to see what happened on this bracket that we could even split bruh. Because we were both destroyed.
Upset March is what this
You know, maybe some years the South bracket, whatever. That's the bad bracket.
This year. The South bracket alone, I think I got like 2 right.
Yeah.
Loyola Chicago made an upset. UMBC took down Virginia, the number 1 seed. We got people signing off because they're pissed about it. Like, really, you're going to talk about how bad my bracket is? We're right there with you. We get it. Like, everybody. Buffalo and Arizona. I have them going to the final against
Arizona. Couldn't even pay for that first victory. All that money spent on that kid. Unbelievable.
But that wasn't enough because that was just the round of 64. Then you get into the round of 32. Tennessee goes down to Loyola Chicago.
Bye, Xavier.
Cincinnati goes down to Nevada
UNC,
when they were up 22 points. What? Like Kentucky at the 5 seed is the highest
seed in
that bracket in the South.
Unfreaking believable.
Now, granted, you may think so, but Florida State over Xavier wasn't really an upset. We had that pegged the entire time. We had it written down. We knew it was up. Sweet 16 had our names all over it. It's just kind of what we do.
When I heard the local radio of Jeff Cameron talking about how happy he was and how excited he was, I was just like, the last 3 weeks have been don't get your hopes up. We're just happy to be here at Radio Talk.
Yeah.
So
we are. We're really happy to be Sweet 16, bruh.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in my room just like, you know, you got that loud whisper because everybody else in your house is asleep because for whatever reason Florida State has to play at 9:45 and 9:50. Oh, and this week 10:07 at night. Like, have we not proven that we can get a primetime game?
I believe it 100%.
That we have.
That you have.
Oh, thanks, bro. That's good. So that was the rest of your bracket. So how do you know the highest amount of points you can get? Like, or have you thought about your Sweet 16 and how that bracket's going to look when you redo? I mean, let's see. You got in the South, you got Kansas State versus Kentucky, and then you got Loyola Chicago versus Nevada.
Which I don't have Loyola Nevada, and I don't. The only team I have over there is
Kentucky. Yeah, I don't even have Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean, Duke has a great chance to get there now. And if you, I'd love for you. We'll shout you out right here. But I'm going to beat you, Tony. We're
our probably got me beat.
Yeah, I think our 4th and 20 bracket. Oh, that's what we're looking at. That's what where the South region was garbage. So if it was me, I feel like I would have Kentucky versus Loyola Chicago, actually.
Really?
And that's where Loyola Chicago will meet their demise.
Yeah.
In the East bracket, I mean, the way this tournament goes, and I actually think I do pick, it would be crazy, but West Virginia could take down Villanova. The way they have been playing, I mean, they've just been blowing teams out. I mean, granted, they played Marshall because, you know, that was another upset that we weren't prepared for. And then you got Texas Tech and Purdue. That's the one I can't call. I haven't got a chance to watch any Texas Tech. And,
Purdue is playing with less people. They have suffered some injuries during the tournament, but they have bounced back pretty well from it. I think Clemson might be able to upset Kansas.
They're also playing really tough. The hurt they put on Auburn.
And then Syracuse, too. Syracuse played Duke before. Maybe that's their weakness is Boeheim just can't get past Coach K.
Sounds about right. UNC, though, like, really?
I know. Garbage.
I'm looking at this bracket just trying to figure out where so many things went wrong. The one that really upset me.
South State?
Well, no, actually, that one didn't upset me as much as Arizona did, actually. The way Michigan State lost, I mean, that's an anything can happen tournament right there. Like, hey, you know, it's a one-and-done tournament, and we made a couple more shots tonight. That's what the game is. But South Dakota State versus Ohio State. And like, I know it's not a high-profile game, but this was a 112-5 seed that I really was like, here's your upset. Nobody else like thought about, you know, the 13s taking care of the 4s all this tournament, like all over and over and over again. But what got me was South Dakota State had this game, and then they gave it away. I mean, they were down 10, and within like 2.5 minutes, they tied the game up at 70. And then on back-to-back possessions, they foul a 3-point shooter. First guy makes it. That's a 4-point play. The second guy doesn't make it, but he still makes all 3 of his free throws. And then at that point, any other shot's a dagger. And then they were right there. Ohio State was getting worried. You can see the fear. What's his name? Dom was playing lights out. He was like putting up 24, 28 points. And next thing you know, let's just foul a couple 3-point shooters because you haven't been here before. That's the one game you can point to experience and be like, well, you haven't learned, kid. Try again next year. Cinderella story, not. You didn't care because you called Ohio State from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
I was close. I picked them in my other bracket. So Florida State, Gonzaga, what you got?
Gonzaga, by a lot.
By a lot?
Not by that much, but by probably about 9 or 10.
I don't know. I mean, I clearly feel like I don't think Gonzaga is as high-profile a team as they were last season.
I don't think Florida State is either.
I really can't even argue that point. Because we lost 2 NBA prospect players last season, so of course we're not the same team as we were last year. But with that being said, we're not the same team we were last year. We don't have guys like Dwayne Bacon and Jonathan Isaac putting up ill-advised threes. I used to have anxiety every time I watched Jonathan Isaac launch a 3. It was awkward to me. And yet they say he was a great 3-point shooter. I was like, he's okay. I mean, he'll make a shot here, but what basketball player nowadays really isn't?
Right.
So I still think he should have stayed. If he had stayed another year, we would have been actually well positioned to go another round at least. Because he was a trendsetter talent, but he wasn't. Well, I don't think he was NBA ready. A lot of these kids aren't NBA ready.
No, not even a little bit.
For instance, the big news out of this tournament, Oklahoma lost, as everybody said they would because they didn't deserve to be in the tournament. That's neither here nor there. But immediately after, Trae Young going to the draft. I don't like this idea at all. He was the star of the team, but it was clear that he was also the team. I mean, even with him, Oklahoma couldn't do much.
Well, and that's not just. I mean, yeah. But like Davidson with Steph Curry, it was really Steph Curry. With KD on Texas, it was really KD. Now, clearly the talent was definitely a little bit better for both of those guys. Or maybe Trae Young just isn't as good as everyone wants to believe. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm the only one that doesn't see it on the tape. I see some incredible things. I see some stuff that I'm very impressed by. I don't see a number 1 overall pick.
No,
I don't see really a top 5 pick. I see a guy that's going to make a difference offensively. Maybe be a selfish kind of passer, but he doesn't have the athleticism of even a Steph Curry. And I think you need a little bit more out of him. I think if he was a little more Russell Westbrook, I think he'd be a better prospect. But he's definitely more of a J.R. Smith, Steph Curry combo.
I'll say this about Trae Young. You're right, he's not a top 5 talent. But I don't think anybody thinks he is. I think right now they have him going number 9 or number 10 overall. Even maybe 8 at the for your New York Knicks. But he has the stats, he has the talent, but he doesn't have the body for the NBA, number 1. And he doesn't have the poise for the NBA yet. If he one more year would literally be the number I would say for Trae Young. Because is he going to be a good player? Yes, absolutely. I definitely think he will be. But I think it's 4 years down the road. I mean, I think Trae Young will be sitting somewhere, possibly on the bench, unless he goes to a team that really, really needs a point guard. Not the Knicks because they're really into this Ntilikina guy, but either so, you got to see him on the bench coming in. He reminds me of like a Tyus Jones.
Or a Buddy Hield.
Or that was the other name I had. Yeah, Trey Burke even will come in and the first year or two just kind of like
they went in because they knew they were getting money, not because they were going to get playing
ready
time.
to go.
Yeah.
I definitely agree, Tom. There definitely should be some breaks on Trae Young. I don't think he should be blamed for the way Oklahoma played down the stretch. He led the league in points and assists. He's the only NCAA player to have done so. So you can't even really call him selfish. Now, granted, he averaged about 9 assists a game, but he could have averaged about 12 because late down the stretch, you know why they were losing? Because everybody had eyes on Trae Young at this point. So he was getting double teamed, he was getting triple teamed. You know what he was still doing? He was still forcing shots up, and that's the immaturity that you can't take to the NBA and think you're going to be a transcendent star. So I really hope the NBA and Adam Silver find a way to get the young products who deserve to be able to go to the NBA out of high school or something of that nature. But if that's not the case, at least 2 years in the NBA. I've been screaming for this for years. Like, it was amazing how the one and done rule actually turned into everybody just coming to college and leaving. Like,
Yeah.
Because the thing was, before that, if you could come into high school, you would. If you couldn't, more often than not, you weren't. You weren't going after 1 year. You were probably spending a year or two in college. But that's just my thought process on it.
I've always had a problem with the concept of not paying these guys. So, I really think that considering this is the cash cow for the NCAA, I think that's the only reason really why we even had Trae Young in this tournament.
Yeah. Whatever. If it was me, why didn't they do that for Ben Simmons 2 years ago in LSU?
Well, that's the thing is that goes back to the argument of these kids don't even want to be in school. They're there because they're told that that's how you get to be in the NBA, and they get they instead of doing the Moutier or Ricky Rubio, you do a year in China and then come in. Well, there's that commitment to this coach will get you NBA ready in the year, which is like a Bill Self like people from Kansas always get that reputation. Well, Thomas Robinson didn't work out.
Fair.
Third overall pick. Who knew about Joel Embiid? Andrew Wiggins. Sometimes the jury's still out on.
I knew about Joel Embiid. I didn't actually. I knew about Joel Embiid, but I don't think anybody knew about Joel Embiid. Some of the things this kid can do. Carl Anthony Towns the same way. What was Calipari thinking not letting that man get his shot off? I know college is a different game, and that down low presence is great to have. But
him and Willie Cauley-Stein were just they brought back an old school what was Bynum Gasol kind of look.
Yeah. What? Who did?
With Willie Cauley-Stein and Karl Anthony Towns.
Okay, sorry, you're thinking of Kentucky. I'm in my head. Yes, I know, but in my head, once you said Bynum and Gasol, I went to NBA, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah, I didn't hit the connection in time. Don't judge me.
Thought we were better than that, folks.
Are we better than that? All right, so let me ask you this now: with the teams that are left, who do you have winning the national? Who's got the title? Duke versus Syracuse, Texas A&M versus Michigan, Kansas, Clemson, Florida State, Gonzaga.
Frankly, right now, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Duke, Kentucky, just based off of
what's
left. I don't think this is a Kansas year. I don't think that Michigan can follow through all the way, and Gonzaga has it ever been their year. And Duke and Kentucky have the most experience, and honestly, Kentucky. I said that before the tournament. I said Kentucky's starting to click, so look out. I also said that if Syracuse got in, it would be trouble, but nobody wanted to give me that credit.
I feel like you say nobody very directly.
Yeah.
Rude? Rude? Okay. I'm on the Duke train as well. Which is so weird, man. The way these teams started out. Duke, Kentucky, and but it's for them. It's like NBA seeding. Get into the playoffs. That's all they really had to do. After that, Coach K and Calipari take over, and you see the product that you get. But I think this may be some ACC down here. We may be having Florida State, Clemson, and Duke all in the lower brackets.
You think all of them can make the Elite Eight?
I think they could make the Elite Eight for sure. Duke and Clemson for sure. The way we played against Xavier, and I'm not talking about the comeback and the win. If we play anything like that against Gonzaga, we may be the one out. But if we play how we played in the end of the game, for most of it, if we get hot early and keep the resilience, I think they can easily make it. This team, Florida State plays meshed a lot better than they did last season. Last season there was a lot of let these two guys work. This season a lot of people play off of each other. So down there I definitely think you're going to see an ACC heavy Elite Eight in the West and the Midwest. Up north we don't really have any ACC up there except Purdue, who actually I think in basketball they're in the Big Ten. Oh, actually the Big Ten football. I'm thinking. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, stupid. normal. It happens. There's a lot of colleges. Up here, I would go Purdue, Loyola, Kentucky, West Virginia in the Elite Eight. So at that point, it's like, I feel like Duke now has the easiest road. Nobody you can say still has the easiest road, not being knocked out, like in a lot of BPI predicted, and they actually now have the highest percent to win the whole tournament. And I know I'm sleeping on them. I kind of want to believe in West Virginia. And
the defense is real.
Yeah, that's true. 4th&20 Sports. I'm done with the bracket. If you're done with the bracket,
I'm done with it.
Yeah, I was done with the bracket day one, really. But
yeah,
but
I remember when he was like, "Oh, the upset, Miami." Little did we know.
That was a great buzzer shot. That was a great shot, though.
There have been some good buzzer beaters. I don't know. This is like I'm least excited about this tournament.
Dude, this committee screwed it up, bro.
Like, USC should have been before Oklahoma.
They lost last night in the NIT, though.
That would have made it further.
I mean, they probably didn't care. Yeah, they probably didn't care. Yeah.
I know. It's nuts.
Yeah. But that's where we are right now. You look at these seedings and...
I mean, no one really talked about any super dominant teams coming into the bracket. There was no, maybe Villanova got the most talk, but no one talked about how, and no one has faith that they could follow through. And, Nevada, there are more and more freakish athletes appearing everywhere, and some teams are just able to get the most out of their talent. Nevada, Loyola, all teams that want to prove something. And that's what makes this tournament special, is that on any given game, the other team can win. And that's what Loyola is living on. So good for them, 11 seed, making it as far as they did.
I mean, they got one shot at it. It's the worst part for them because, a lot of these guys are going to be gone. And that's another thing with a lot of these upsets. You're looking at smaller schools getting the W's. Well, you know why? Because they don't have all that one-and-done talent. They're not resetting. They're not starting over again. You have people that have chemistry, and they've bought into their coach and their game style, their game plan, and it's coming to fruition. Just sit back and trust in what you're doing and what we've put in place for the last 3 to 4 years, and you're good. So it makes a little bit of sense. And to be honest, as garbage as it is for everybody who thought they had a bracket, which I don't know why people do because every year you screw it up, it's kind of fun to watch, these underdogs, really. Anything's going to happen. About it. That's about it. But no, really, I'm done with the bracket. What about you?
So done with the bracket.
Okay. So, what's your Giants looking like in their projection? How do you think this plays out? Switch back to some NFL.
I still think
about your team.
I think that Saquon Barkley will be a Giant at the end of this draft. I think that's just inevitable. The only way that happens is it doesn't happen is if we get a trade offer that can land us 4 or 5 first to second round picks. We can't give this up, and that'll never happen.
Do you not at 2 entertain trade offers, but don't make your choice until the Browns choose?
Yeah.
Because let's say they take Saquon.
No, you're holding till draft night. You're holding.
All right, so the Jets went after the Browns number 1. The Bills are still in heavy talks, apparently, trying to get the Giants number 2 pick. Maybe, the number 3 pick is obviously out of it. So anything can happen here, but
I don't think the Bills have enough to offer the Giants. We would have to get some linemen and their pick and 2 second rounders. You saw how valuable the 3rd overall was. Whereas my 2nd overall only gets you closer to what you want.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I don't know. So you no, I've said this because obviously, if Saquon's there, it sucks for the Browns. Because to me, still, if Saquon's there, if it's Sam Darnold or Saquon Barkley, take Saquon.
Yeah, If I was lined up and I was picking my team and I got first pick and I see Sam Darnold and I see Saquon Barkley, I'm gonna go, another jerk can freaking throw the ball.
Yeah.
Saquon, you're on this
No
team
one's
because
around.
you're going to do amazing things with Saquon.
You don't think at 4, Josh Allen or
But that's the thing
Josh
is,
Rosen.
if they know the quarterback, then it makes sense. Take Saquon. But if they think they're all matched, I don't even know if you want to take 1 at 4 either.
Yeah, but if you think they're
Why
matching,
not
they're all
take
that
Why not
good.
take the Nelson kid and get a guard to help block for Saquon?
Because yes, that's what they should do. But we are both on the case that they are picking their QB this season. Even though I think you have another year, I don't know what the QB class looks like next season. So fair thought process there. But I would love to. I'm going to check that out and come back on that because that could play into this as well. Because to me, Tyrod Taylor buys you this year and probably another year. Like you're not going to be bad with Tyrod. You know, you're not going to be worse than you were the last 20 years with no QB. I'll put it that way. So why not take Minka Fitzpatrick? Why not take Quentin Nelson if he's there, which he should be at this point?
Yeah.
Judging by what we think we know about the first 3 picks and what they're looking to do. And now you pick in the second round. You can find a QB maybe if you really need to.
Now Lamar will be there.
No, that's lining them up for trouble. I don't think he's a good match for the Browns and what they want to do. I think he would be another letdown, to be honest. Yeah, and he would be your Terrell Pryor, really. You know, you have a QB that should or will probably end up being a receiver of some sort. In all honesty, you know.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion on it. Who do you think? What prospect do you see falling the furthest? You know, like how a lot of people had O.J. Howard at 6 last year. He dropped all the way to 16. Reuben Foster dropped all the way to 29.
As of right now, Baker Mayfield may be the guy that slides.
It's no Derek Anderson. Nice.
Just because I don't know. Baker or Josh Rosen, really. Josh Rosen's attitude concerns could land him a lot further down than people think. And the Cardinals still need, like, when I say slide, I mean not go second overall.
Well,
I think that he could probably slide all the way down to where the Cardinals are.
Well, the thing is, too, like, I don't know if I would consider either one of those guys actually being called sliding. Only reason being is because if you're not picked at the Broncos, I mean, no one else needs a QB until you get to the, I think, the 13th spot for the Miami Dolphins, who are being said that they want to take a QB, or the 15th spot with the Cardinals, who, just got Sam Darnold. So, I guess if you get picked at 15th, it's a slide. But when you're in a QB draft like this, when you're looking at, I guess, Sam Darnold, I'm really not sold on this kid. Sam Darnold, you're looking at Josh Rosen and Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield. And if you notice, Baker Mayfield, more times than not, is the 4th name said in that combo. So I honestly already peg him, unless the Broncos take a stab at 5, I already peg him to be picked at 13 or 15.
Josh Rosen.
I guess for me, I mean, he hasn't really been talked up highly. People are looking at him in the 15 and 17 round. I mean, I can see Calvin Ridley dropping like 5 to 7 spots and being picked in the 20s, something of that nature. But he's like the first wide receiver off the board. I mean, remember when wide receivers were the ones killing the game?
We haven't had a wide receiver year since the Odell Beckham year. With Cooks, Landry, Beckham, Evans, Watkins, Kelvin Benjamin, all those guys.
That is a crazy guy.
Eric Ebron was drafted before Aaron Donald and Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
Lions.
Ow.
Shout out to Tyler.
Oh man, you lost Megatron. You didn't get OBJ. I don't understand that thought process. All right. Well, I feel that next time we talk about the draft, we're gonna have a lot more to say.
Definitely.
I'm kind of excited about it. Draft talk, and then when we get into like our breaking down the previews of the divisions, those are probably my 2 exciting times to talk some football. To be honest.
And as they keep popping up and as those things keep happening, it just means we get closer and closer to football. We're We're about half a year away, so
100,
buckle up.
166 days.
I don't want to think about it.
Okay. I don't break your heart. Well, Max, I'll be honest, man. I think we're at that time.
I do believe that we are about to hit that time where we have to leave you, pleasant folks.
Yeah.
Thank you for sticking around as much as you did today, Tom and Des.
Thank you for
understanding.
Tony as well.
Yeah.
Shout out for you guys. Hit that like, hit that share button. We are on SoundCloud, the Apple Podcast, the iTunes app, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. At me, bro. Is that what's come at me, bro? But yeah, we're 4th&20 Sports, and we should be back sometime randomly, and you'll just be like, "Hey, those guys, let's watch."
Tell your friends. Tell your mama.
Better not bring your kids. No, it's cool. Kids can watch.
Yeah, no, for real. I only curse every once in a while.
He curses all the time.
I try not to. I promise, Mom.
We're 4th&20 Sports. Thanks so much, guys. I've been AJ.
And I'm Max.
Peace.